Mike Ganorta. Read him in the Daily Herald. Hear him every Friday afternoon with Steve Cochran at 5:50. Watch his daily 30 and 5 video commentaries at 560WIND.com. And his visit with us today made possible by the Village of Rosemont and Home Comfort Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. Today, Amy Jacobson walked into the office very early and said it's a great day for American women because finally we're going to be allowed at Augusta. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, they had to do something, John, because, quite frankly, I mean, I don't want to belong to a club that doesn't want me to begin with. I've been asked to be in a couple golf clubs myself in the past. I go, are you crazy? Why would you do that? I don't go for the banning of anything in a club, but I understand the private club. The problem was they had been holding this the most prestigious golf tournament in the world since the 30s, the Masters, and the private club became public because of that, so they had to do something. I talked to a golf expert last night on Fox, and they told me this was going to happen 5 years ago, but Martha Burke basically stepped in. They're trying to make her look bad by saying she delayed it rather than should be the Herald today. They said they would have done it 5 years ago, or that's the word they're getting out of Augusta. I happen to think we don't know for sure on that, but I do know this, that they had to do something to get the PR machine off their back, and the PR machine was bad. Every year they had to answer the questions 1 or 2 weeks beforehand, but nothing's going to change that much, and they got 2 women that have cachet and as much money as any of the guys probably in there.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's Martha Burke so much that it was Hootie Johnson. Do you remember what he said in 2003?
Yeah, I remember what he said.
You can hold that to my face. I'm not going to change my position.
Right, and basically ruined her. She ended up boycotting in a parking lot. She said she was going to cause economic destruction to the Masters. They decided to tell their sponsors to go away, and they have so much money, they decided to sponsor it on their own, and she went away. I mean, wow. They ruined her for 10 years. I mean, basically, she's in charge. When you have more than one coalition in a title, she's in charge of the National Women Coalition of coalitions of women in a coalition out of Washington, D.C. That means, okay, you're trying to find your way, and basically, you got it. She got embarrassed 10 years ago. And I've heard people say that she won the battle, and there's a lot of people that thought she should have minded her own business.
Well, I think it's a victory for working women because it gives us access to power. Decisions
you have no
are made,
access if you're a working woman to Augusta.
Let me tell you. I got to tell you, when I one of the best decisions. I mean, when you play in a golf course with men, you have access to decisions. It's where decisions are made. I'm not kidding you. I got my mom a job one time. I was golfing with the CEO, and he said, "Well, if you make this shot, if you get on the green, I'll interview your mom for that position." I said, "Okay." And sure enough, I made the shot. He interviewed my mom. She got the job. Bingo.
And you were invited because you're Amy Jacobson, a woman of some power and influence in the Chicago area.
Yeah, I was making $10,000 a year. I was living in Tucson.
Yeah, but
living
they don't
in a
ask
tough
for
shed.
They know. I understand that, but here's another thing that private clubs. There are women that have private clubs all over the country. And Judy Rankin, a LPGA Hall of Famer, said yesterday she's all for all women clubs, all for all men clubs. There's women that cut deals. There's women CEOs that cut deals. I got my brother a job in a bar once. I'm not going to buy a bar. I mean, so I basically understand where you're coming from, and I know there is power brokers all over, but there are rules that guys want to abide by. The problem is you can't hold a public tournament, the most public of tournaments.
That's the problem.
And that's the deal. If they never had the tournament, they're never changing that rule.
Right.
And basically it just goes on. It was the public relations. It was the pressure that was put on from themselves. Because if they don't name somebody for another 10 years, nobody's saying a word, and we're watching the Masters for 10 more years.
Well, what about the CEO of IBM? When is she going to be invited?
Whenever they really feel like inviting her.
Catapulted this.
She may never get invited. And if they don't invite her, there's nothing anybody can do about it. And they're going to. Here's what the Masters told them. If you don't like us, CBS, move it. They were never going to move it. There's millions and millions of dollars. Plus, if you investigate what the Masters has done over the years in golf for all genders, all races, all creeds and colors, they have been at the forefront of promoting golf, but they have been at the back burner as far as promoting equality when you're doing a public venue such as yours. Like I said, if it's Bobolink, if it's some other club, if it's an all-Jewish club, hey, that's fine. You you have a tournament run there, though, you got to make some change.
Yeah, like Black Sheep Golf Club in Sugar Grove. I mean, they don't have any tournaments, but that's
right. I read about that. They don't have tournaments, but if they wanted an LPGA tournament, which would never happen, or a PGA tournament, and the PGA said, "Well, what are your rules?" and they're going, "Well, we don't allow anybody except men on the course," they'd walk away.
Does Butler allow women? Does Butler allow women now?
I'm not sure. I've never. They don't allow guys like me. I mean, there's another thing. There's guys like John and I. We walk up there. Can we play golf? Get out of here.
Well, Mike, I've gone to bat for you on Wensia and Old Elm a couple times. They don't want to. So I'm sorry.
I
I'm
told
done.
the guy, Dave, I've been asked to join 2 clubs. I go, how much is it? One guy said $73,000. The other guy for the other club said $65,000.
I can get you a job at Shore Acres.
Oh, I love a Shore Acres.
Okay.
I got to play that once at a celebrity golf outing. Very nice. And then they said, yeah, your car's running.
They said, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for coming to the
See you
charity
later.
thing. We'd like to join you for drinks, but just move on.
Lake Bluff Police would like to talk to you on the road.
Absolutely. But you know what? Hey, it's over with now. Their nightmare's over with now as far as having to answer the questions. That was the nightmare that they had, but their membership stood fast behind Hootie Johnson back in the day, and there were a lot of people that were happy for his stance because Martha Burke, they thought, pushed the envelope too far. Hey, she'll take some credit today. She deserves it. She brought it at the forefront. But by no stretch of the imagination should she take a bow today because some people think she delayed it.
Mike, thank you very much.
All right, guys. Take care.